All right. Hey there, everyone. This is Kevin, and this is another video lesson in the Thinkorswim tutorial section. I really want to just get deep into this platform enough so that you'll have no difficulty following along in subsequent and future video lessons. Okay? I'm really hitting the high points. Just understand that this really can go as deep and as complex as you want it to, and I'm sure there will be some of you out there that will be able to teach me a lot of things that I don't know about it. I just use what works for me, and I know that there's a lot more features to it, but I have been on this platform since essentially late 2006, early 2007, so I've got a pretty extensive knowledge base about it. One of the things in the last lesson I talked about, kind of how you can link some of these tabs to one another, as well as looking at the Analyze tab and the Charting tab. This particular one I want to talk more about the Analyze tab in a little bit more detail, and specifically how when you get multiple positions going, this beta weighting feature right here is a very, very powerful tool. So it's something I absolutely want to kind of show you and make sure that you're aware of. And in the coming weeks and months, as we start developing more and more positions in a real-time environment, you'll notice as I start getting more positions built here to model for you, when you have a lot of positions, a lot of option trades in multiple instruments, okay? So I could have, I could have 2 contracts in Apple, I could have 5 contracts in Russell, I could have 30 contracts in the SPX, I could have 2 in the NASDAQ, I could have 1 in Priceline, etc. You will notice that on this main page here, on this main screen, and as I start talking about some of these other videos, I'll have some trades to display, and I'll come back to this topic again. This beta weighting feature, it lets you take your aggregate positions and weight it towards anything you want. It could be the Russell, it could be the SPX, it could be Apple. And how that becomes really important is you are able to see all of your positions in a quick glance snapshot, so you know if there's some damage control maneuvers that need to happen real fast. And if you're beta weighting everything to the SPX, but you've got 10 different positions and you are heavily short in all of your positions correlated to the SPX, well, if the market starts, going against you, well, you can very quickly either go in and do something in just the SPX to kind of neutralize what's happening, or you can go into the futures, or you can go in, there's just options and there's choices available. So this beta weighting feature is something that's really going to come into play later. Just know that right now, this is where it's at, okay? So Analyze tab, what I want you to draw your attention to are these different price slices. You can, if you unpadlock them, it just automatically defaults to what the underlying asset is at this current point in time. So, it changes to, if you have the SPX, that's going to be different. If you have Apple, that's going to be different. If you have RUT, it's always going to be reflective of what this symbol is at this point in time. You can padlock this, and then you can adjust this to whatever price slice you want, and you'll notice that it has put price slices up here. You can add price slices, you can delete price slices, you can reorder them by price. This is why it's so important. It's imperative that you stay on paper money while you're learning, because you don't want to be navigating around and messing around with stuff and then find out that you've just accidentally executed a trade. And so this is where you kind of practice that. Right here, I can set all of these to 0. I can look at what a plus or minus $10 move or a 1 sigma move is, or a 2% move, etc. You can make all these adjustments and changes here to your price slices, which is going to be this price right here, right? Now you'll see I just grabbed that with my mouse and I slid it around and it padlocked it right here. Anytime you see a red padlock, that is locked to the chart, okay? Now, if I want to start beginning to model simulated trades, these are not trades that I've executed. These are not trades that I have traded. If I go to Apple, and let's just say that I want to sell 100 shares of Apple, all right? This is simulating me selling 100 shares of Apple. You'll see that if I look at the risk profile, this is what it looks like, right? All right, so if Apple right now is at 132.97, for every $1 move down, I'm going to make money. For every $1 move up, I'm going to lose money because I'm short the actual shares. Okay, so this risk profile here on the Analyze tab is completely separate and independent from the price action chart that we see here. And if we look at Apple right here, you'll see, you know, had a huge strong move here today. And so shorting it might be a strategy that somebody wants to employ. Well, you need to know, all right, well, if I short it right here, how much am I theoretically going to be losing if Apple drops to 120? Or you know, how much am I going to be making if it drops to 120? How much am I going to lose if it goes up to, say, 170? And you can look and see what your risk tolerance and what your risk level is accordingly. But just remember, this is still only a simulated trade at this point. This will become very important in future video lessons, how I can show you how to model option trades, okay? Because those risk profiles are going to look entirely different than either buying or selling shares of stock themselves. And you'll see, you know, you can adjust this basically however many you want, 770 or, you know, 810 or, you know, 1050, whatever you want to do. You can adjust this to whatever you want. Lastly, and then I'll go ahead and wrap this lesson up. If let's say that you're ready to execute this trade, this is the trade that you want. Remember how I said that I really don't use this trade tab too much? Well, here's why. I can type in Apple right here. All right, it gives me the same kind of screen that I have right here, right? They look identical, they are exactly the same, but I can do no analysis on this trading tab. I can do all of my analysis on this Analyze tab, and then when I'm convinced and I'm comfortable that this is the trade I want, well, look at what I do. Remember how I told you the little blue button? Left click the blue button, I can confirm and send it right then, right there. Or additionally, I can right click it and I can confirm and send. I can right click anywhere in here, confirm and send. But what's even better about this Analyze tab, which is why I don't use this one, when I go to Analyze, I can create a duplicate order, and what that does is that populates the trade right down here on the bottom. This is very important because it lets me immediately see what the spread is. All right, not so important on stocks, not so important on futures, not so important on FX, well, maybe a little bit on FX. Insanely important. Hear that again. Ridiculously important on trading options. You have to know what this spread is because this is going to make or break the difference of you being profitable or not. One of the elements. So I can do everything from the Analyze tab. I'm convinced that this is a trade that I want to do. I'd right click. I could create a duplicate order. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. Maybe I'll, if I unpadlock, it tells me what the actual mark is. I go up or down, and then I just hit confirm and send. It gives me one final confirmation box. Are you sure this is what the trade's going to cost you? This is what's going to set you back. This is going to be your resulting buying power. And then you hit send, and the trade's off and working. Okay, so that is the Analyze tab. That is very important to understand how this tab subcategorizes into risk profile, probability analysis. I'm not even going to discuss right now. This is introductory, intermediate level stuff. This is advanced, all right? Probability analysis is advanced. ThinkBack is a back testing feature. I don't use it. I use option view. So for now, analyze, we're just looking at adding simulated trades, looking at the risk profile, and then once the trade actually executes, if we know that this is our fill price, now we can hide all our positions and look at just simulations, or we can hide our simulations and we would be looking at just our open positions. Okay, so that's it for now. Thanks again for listening, and we'll have another one. I think the next video lesson I'm going to talk just about charting and all the capabilities and features in here. Okay, so thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for another one.